Um, so I met Sunnie last year. I don't even remember what event it was, but it was an event somewhere in Indiana, and she gave a really awesome presentation. And so I reached out to see if she'd be willing to do this call, and here we are. So I'm just gonna give it over to you.
All right. Well, I'm always excited when people ask me to come talk to their teams, because something about my personality is that I'm really good at doing for others, not so good at doing for myself. But when I do for others, I gain so much energy from that. I love to talk about and be transparent with people and let you know about my journey, because I can almost guarantee some of you are feeling like nobody is like you. That's probably not true. There's probably a lot of us who are a lot like you. So I love anything about being able to give back to other people because it's so life-giving to me. So I was really excited to be invited to chat. Okay, you guys don't know me at all, which is also kind of fun because I feel like I tell my story all over and over again, and nobody knows, or everyone knows my story already, so it's kind of fun. So I'll just pretend like I know none of you, even though some of your faces look very familiar. So I am from Searcy, Arkansas. I grew up in the northern part of Arkansas in a teeny tiny town of literally like 1,000 people. So when you guys are like, my 10,000 person town is really tiny, I'm like, oh, you don't know tiny. You don't know really. But so that's where I grew up. It's a great place to visit. It's a beautiful park there, beautiful part of the state. I never want to live there. But so I grew up and I came to, again, a small private Christian university in Searcy, Arkansas. I wound up hanging around here a lot longer than I thought I would. I got a bachelor's degree in social work, and then I went and got my master's degree in social work at the U of A in Little Rock, UALR. I did that. I went straight into working at the VA hospital in the acute psych unit. So mental health, finding the systems that work in life, embracing change and the ick that comes with that, and then the glory that comes with beautiful people rising from the ashes. Oh, all of that, yes. And we get to do that with this job. And that is so fun to me. So as I was working full-time as a social worker, I'm single. I am engaged. I'm getting married this summer. I'm really excited about that. And I met him like a month or two before I joined Plexus. So it's always been a part of our life together. That took some adjusting, but he loves the products and is a big supporter of me. But I was single when I started and 25. And the reason why I started was just some curiosity. I saw Jessica Heffley. I'm sure you guys saw her at convention, or you know her name, or have seen her on the leaderboard. She is just an incredible person. She is just amazing all around. And I say that, and I think she would also want me to say she's amazing, but not perfect. And that's what makes her amazing, is that she lets you know her journey. Anyway, she has been my biggest cheerleader from the beginning. She believed in me before I believed in myself. And she was posting all these things and all these testimonies, and I was so driven. Interested, intrigued. I was reading all of them and didn't really know why, but I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Oh, that's kind of cool. And it wasn't until I saw her jumping in front of her car. She had paid off her car a whole year early. And I was like, oh, she's actually making some change. Okay. And then it wasn't like, oh, I want to make money too. My thought was, oh, this must really be working for her. Like, this is a real thing. It's not just something she's super interested in. And so as I watched her continue to do this, she posted her jumping in front of the car picture, and she posted hashtag watch me or join me. And as someone who just kind of goes with the flow, and like, I'll FOMO is for real. Like, I am serious about FOMO. Like, I want to be involved in all the things. And as soon as she posted that hashtag, I was like, oh, this could be for me too. Like, I don't have to just like read these posts. Like, I could do this, and I could like maybe pay off my $60,000 in student loan debt, and that I can't pay off as a social worker, because if you know anything about social work, we don't get paid for what we do. So I got really interested and intrigued. And honestly, like, the sad part is And if you've been around Plexus for a while, one of my testimonies, or my testimony, her little brief clip of it was one that played over and over and over on customer service, and it became a really obnoxious joke about why I joined Plexus. But I was exhausted. And I was 25, and it didn't make any sense. I don't have babies. I probably stay up too late, but that's just because that's when my energy comes. I'm such a night owl. And I was falling asleep in my office. It doesn't get any worse, I feel like, than when you are setting a 5-minute alarm on your phone, shutting your office door, and praying to God that nobody answers so that you can just close your eyes for 5 minutes on your desk. I'm sure some of you have been there and can relate to that. But I was tired, and so I was interested and intrigued by the energy. I didn't really need to lose a ton of weight. That was not what I was seeking to do. I consider myself pretty healthy. But I wound up trying, and I'm going to give you this whole scenario of what she did because I think it's super smart. So she believed in me before I believed in myself. And so she posted a 7-day trial pack giveaway or something like that. And I commented under it because I was curious. And I didn't win, but she messaged me individually and said, "I'm so sorry you didn't win, but I would love to send you a single trial pack if you're interested in trying it." Following up is huge. Don't just leave those people who commented hanging. Like, they are interested. So she reached out to me. She sent me a trial pack. She didn't just send me a trial pack in an envelope and call it good. No, she put a magazine in it. And at the time it was a Success magazine. She was in it because she had won silver stars. And it was, Success magazine is all about Plexus. She did a really good thing for a skeptical person. She said, this is a third-party magazine. Plexus didn't just write them about themselves. Of course they can write good things about themselves, but when a third party comes in and writes good things, that's a different story. So it caught my attention. And then she also put sticky notes inside of it. This is me. I'm going to Disney World. Like, this is real life. And also, this is my friend so-and-so. Love her, met her at wherever. You got to hear this story. She's helping orphanages now because of what she's doing. Sticky notes inside of it. I would have never, ever read that magazine had she not taken the time to put those sticky notes on there. So that was really important. Another thing she did that made me go, was she put in 2 business cards of her own. And she said, these are to hand out to friends and family who think you might need these products if you decide not to join, something like that. And in my head, or maybe she didn't even say that last part. Maybe it was just these are great to hand out to your friends and family if they ever want to try the products. And my thought was, well, why would I send them to her? They could join with me. And it got that wasn't why I wanted to do this, but it got my wheels turning. It kind of placed that seed. So anyway, I didn't try the sample for several weeks because that's what our customers do that frustrate us so badly that we really want them to not do. That's what I did. I was one of those people, and she followed up with me. So important to follow up. And when she did, she said, let me know what you think about Slim Sample when you try it. And hey, by the way, I'll offer you a certain amount of discount off if you join in the next week. Also got my wheels turning. I love a discount. If people love a discount, that's the best thing to do. It gets them kind of off of dead center and starts to get them thinking about actually making the decision. And let's see what else. I still didn't join. I tried this one, but I liked it. It was interesting, but I still just didn't know if I wanted to invest in what was going on. And then she had another giveaway or something, and it was like when we could post out giving like free sign up. She's like, I only have 10, join now. And I did it on a whim on a girls trip. And so you just never know when the time is going to be right for people. And so if you stop posting, if you stop engaging your audience on Facebook, on Instagram, on whatever platform you're on, they're not going to think that you are there. She was there every day without fail, feeding me full of information. And that way I knew she was always ready when I was ready. So, you have to be present. Quit quitting on yourself when it comes to that stuff. Even if you're just engaging your audience in life, that is good. But engaging them and showing them you're in this is what you really need to do. So anyway, I joined, loved the products. Within the first week, I was sleeping better. Now my acid reflux is so much better. My allergies are way better than they used to be. I don't have my yearly bronchitis that I used to. Let's see, I have way more energy. Let's see, my mom has completely lost her migraines that she had, that I watched her have my entire life. I could see it in her eyes before she even told me she had one. It was kind of a devastating thing that so many of our days in childhood were taken from her because of these migraines, and we have the answer for that. What a gift. My dad has lost over 20 pounds. His cholesterol's better. And he, like, the light is just back in his eyes. I don't know how to describe it other than he's just happier because he feels so much better. Like, these are things that no skeptic can take from me. Nobody can take that away from me. Nobody who's like, I read Betty's blog is going to take away the joy of the fact that my dad feels better and my mom's migraines are gone. Like that, I just have this unshakable belief that I feel like has been in my benefit when talking to people. I have nothing to prove to people. You have nothing to prove to people. These products, this opportunity work, period, end of story. We have nothing to prove. So when they're ready to come around, that's awesome. And when they're not, we've got to accept that and be willing to move on and keep digging for people who are ready for an opportunity. So anyway, let's see. I am a Sapphire ambassador with Plexus. I ran up the ranks pretty quickly in my first year. And it took several months to get from senior ruby to emerald, and then stayed at emerald for what felt like 99 years. You will never hear me complain about that, though, because being stuck at emerald is like maybe the best place in the world to be stuck ever. But if you're a go-getter and an achiever, being stuck anywhere is not what you want. And so I was striving to move forward and have been. In this past year, I hit Sapphire. And now my team, is growing, maybe, probably. I think so. There's those times when you're like, is this really going to happen for me? Like, just honestly. And part of what I'm going to talk about tonight is that place of, is this going to happen for me? Am I cut out for this? And to hear maybe a Sapphire and Emerald say that might sound a little bit crazy, because you're like, of course it's going to happen. You're already there. But it doesn't matter what rank you're at. That feeling never goes away. There's always that place where you can get into a place of self-doubt, and it's not fun. So part of something that is a big part of my core and my heart is Brene Brown, which you guys know a whole lot about. I love that authenticity and being genuine and real with you. And so a lot of what I'm going to say is going to be really genuine and real with you. And that's vulnerable for me. But that's what I need to do in order for you guys to gain something from that. Okay, so I joined the John Maxwell team, and I have learned a lot through that and through Brene Brown. And some of what I've learned, well, okay, I'll tell you. Last, or maybe it was the beginning, no, it was last year, maybe mid last year, I did a 5 Levels of Leadership call, or John Maxwell's 5 Levels of Leadership. If you've not read that book and you're feeling stuck, or you're feeling like there's something that you're missing in your leadership, I recommend that you go there. Now, I don't recommend that like, this is going to feel great. It won't. If you're feeling stuck as a leader, it's not going to feel very good at all, because it's going to show you just exactly what you're not great at. Ugh, that never feels good. But that's exactly what we need sometimes, is to be told what we need to work on. And I realize that we're all at different levels here. Some of you may be brand new. I'm so glad you're on this call. That is a huge sign that you are investing in your life. Thank you for being here. Some of you may be striving for emerald. Some of you may be slow walking your way to whatever. All of those things are amazing. You are influential, and you are a leader no matter what level you are at. We don't get to choose if we are influential or not. We don't get to choose that. We are influential if we have one person on our team, if we have a family, if we talk to anybody in the world. We are influential for the good, for the bad, or for the neutral, where we're just staying in this place where we're not growing, and we're probably actually getting worse. So we don't get to choose that. That was a powerful thing for me to acknowledge, because I don't always feel like I have things to say. I don't feel like I'm anybody special. I'm Sunnie from Mammoth Spring, Arkansas. I feel like I got lucky sometimes. Do you guys ever sometimes feel like a fraud? Like, I didn't do this. Like, my team's just amazing. I didn't do anything to get here. Like, I know I must not be alone in that feeling. But the truth is I do have stuff to offer. And we have to sometimes challenge ourselves to be able to see that and do that and give that. So we are influencers. I need you to hear me say that. You don't get a ticket to get off free, right? People are watching you. Okay, so I think what I mostly want to talk about, the John Maxwell training, something I took away the most from that. I mean, it was great stuff. My favorite, I think, was when he went over his leadership values. He said, to be a John Maxwell leader, you need these 10 values. And I'm just going to read them to you really quick. I do not have time to go through all of them. But then I'm going to tie that into why it's important. He said, leaders add value to people. That should be pretty basic, right? They add value to people. 2, they live intentionally. 3, they exceed expectations. Oh, you tell me I'm going to hit this right then? Oh, well, just watch me. I'm going to do this. 4 is they grow daily. 5, you have a positive attitude. 6, consistency is key. But it's not the most important thing. We can be really consistent doing nothing. It's not good. We can also be really consistent. Okay, I just have to tell a story. So as we get older, like think about your great-grandma or your grandma who's getting older, and they are very consistent. Your grandparents, maybe think of somebody who's older in life. They're very consistent. They get up and they do these same things every single day, and they're very busy consistently doing nothing. So consistency isn't the only thing that we need. Like, I want to talk about being busy in a little bit later, but like my fiance's grandmother, she's like, oh, I'm staying busy. Well, she's staying busy washing laundry that is literally not dirty. Like, she will take a towel out of the drawer to put it in the washer so her load is big enough to wash. Like, she's just is creating busyness for herself. Like, but she's really consistently doing nothing. And I have been in that place. So I say that not as a judgment, but like, I get that. And I am not 80 something. I've been really consistent at doing nothing. Okay. Anyway, the 6 is consistency. 7 is we equip people. We give them the tools to move them forward. Good leaders don't just keep knowledge in their noggins. They're giving it to people and saying, hey, learn from this, do this, try this. Love that. Okay. Number 8 is lead by example. This one stings a little, I'm going to be real honest, because I don't feel like I'm always everything that every person on my team needs me to be. And the hard answer is that I'm never going to be everything that my team needs me to be. And that's why we have team calls like this. That's why we can learn from other people and gain from sidelines. And that's why we have team pages. I can never be everything for my team. But that doesn't mean we get a ticket to sit idle and not learn and not grow and not show people we can do the hard stuff too. Number 8 is lead by example. Number 9 is we are a catalyst for transformation. Sometimes we need to be the person that for our teams, we can metabolize failure with them. When I first heard that like term or idea, I was like, that is good. Because we fail a lot in this business. And if you're not failing a lot, you're probably not growing. We have to fail over and over and over again in order to be able to grow and move. That's also a part of my story I'm going to tell you a little bit more about. But we have to be that person who can metabolize failure with our teammates. What worked? What didn't work? Why are you afraid to try it again? What's going on in your head? Let's verbalize that and get it all out in the open so that we can move forward. Also, the 10th one is faith. Faith of whatever kind fits you. I consider myself a Christian, a pretty strong Christian. My faith runs deep. Religion also runs deep in my life, and I have a little bit less of a great relationship with religion. But my faith in something bigger and greater than me and my purpose. You cannot replace that with any manual, with anybody telling you exactly what to do every single day. You have to have faith in the things that are unseen, or you're not going to believe in yourself or believe that this stuff's going to work, because we have to do the things without seeing it actually working for a long time. And that's hard. That is really hard. Okay, so that is 10. And I put underneath that gulp, like, what? That's so many things, and that's so intimidating. But when you get to that place where it seems intimidating and there's a lot of stuff, just know that you're not alone there. And it may take you a long time to be able to process it. So I'll tell you also, I just in the last week or so have actually been able to dive into the Enneagram. I don't know if you've ever taken the Enneagram. I recommend it if you're ready for it. I took the exam like a year ago and literally couldn't deal. Like, I was not in a place where I could look at the good and the bad of myself. I wasn't there. It was a really tough time. And so it's taken me until now to be able to process that and look at myself in a raw way. And that 5 levels of leadership was a rough thing for me. I had to really face why my team isn't growing like I want it to, right? Why I'm not growing like I want myself to. And it had a lot to do with my leadership. Not everything to do with me. It's never just me. It's you guys. It's our own responsibility to make it work. No one else is responsible for your business but you. Nobody. To have support is a gift. Man, I am on such a wonderful team, and you guys are too. I've seen your leaders in action. They're wonderful people. So to have support is a gift, but it's not necessary. You can do this all on your own. Nobody's going to do it for you. Okay, so what I really want to talk about real quick is how, when we are on this road that is plexus, it's not a road, it is a freaking roller coaster. Okay, we are high, we are low, we are high, we are low, and we are chugging along, right? We are constantly doing this. And if you come into this business thinking it's not going to be a roller coaster, you're going to be sadly mistaken, and you're probably going to quit. Know that you're going into this and it's going to be hard is your biggest leg up. Okay. For someone to be honest with you and tell you the truth is so good. Okay. So about the roller coaster, what do you do when you find yourself at the top of the roller coaster? This is the good time, right? We are in momentum. We're about to head down that hill and it's going to be great. We're going to woo our way all the way through, right? That's awesome. Momentum can power us through a brick wall, okay? That's a wonderful time to be. That's also a wonderful time to not quit what you are doing. Do not think, oh, everything's going great. I'm just going to sit back and chill. There's a time to sit back and chill, not when you're in momentum. Just don't do that. Take a lesson from me. Don't do that. Always be adding people to your funnel and starting conversations with people. We have to be in conversation with people. Some people like to call it IPA. Some people like to call it income producing activity IPA, reaching out. I like to say we're starting the conversation. You need to be starting the conversation with people daily. Good, wholesome conversations, real words. If you reach out to me and you're talking to me like you're a robot that is pre-recorded, I'm probably not going to hear that. But when you're in momentum and you've got your team moving and growing, you still need to be starting those genuine conversations with people every day. And if I'm having a genuine conversation with people and someone gets upset with me, that's fine. They can get upset with me. It's coming from a genuine place in my heart for me to reach out with them in a conversation. I always ask myself, what I'm typing in this message right now, would I say that to them face to face? If I wouldn't, maybe I need to take a look at that. Am I starting the conversation with a whole huge long paragraph? If I was sitting in front of somebody, I probably would just be like, hey, how's it going? And then they answer, and then I answer, and then they answer, and then I answer. That's a conversation. Sometimes just throwing information at people they don't know how to take that, because that's not how we do real life. We don't really talk to people that way, right? So I've kind of tweaked the way I reach out to people because that feels good to my heart. That is what's doable to me. Some of you can power through some IPA and send out messages, and that is amazing. Keep doing that. It works. But for me, it's not worth it. I have to have those start genuine conversations. We're all different in this business, and that's one way that I feel like I am different than some. Okay, so when we are on this roller coaster, right? We're on the roller coaster where we feel failure all of the time. And we have to have that failure in order to continue to grow. But the thing about failure is it sucks. It doesn't feel good at all. We don't like it. You have to have some serious discipline and mind control to realize that failure is a good thing for you. And a way to get around that is gratitude in the moment. Thank you for this challenge. Like, I'm going to learn from this. I'm going to grow from this. It's intentional gratitude that can kind of help you get through some of that failure. But I realized the year I was really struggling, I was hitting failure over and over and over again. And it started to really kind of beat me down. And I didn't even realize it was doing it until I had stopped in the valley of my roller coaster. And I was stuck right here. I was stuck here in the valley. There was no woo, no arms in the air, no this is going great. It sucked. It sucked for me. And it's because I had stopped. I had let failure stop me. And I say this, and it's pretty vulnerable to say that as a jewel in the company, because once you get to this place, everything's supposed to be amazing, right? It's all supposed to be butterflies and rainbows, and your team's growing huge, right? Okay, well, it was growing, but it wasn't me growing. And I felt like a failure and I felt like a fraud because I had stopped myself in my tracks. And what happens in that place is it takes a lot of inertia to get that roller coaster moving again. And that has to come from deep within inside you and your values and your why and what makes you tick. That has to come from you because it takes a lot of power to get a roller coaster from the bottom cranking back up to the top, right? And you have to do it cranking back up slowly. And sometimes the weight is too heavy and you pull yourself back down. But you have to keep pushing the faith in the unseen. That's that time, right? Before we can get back to the top again. And when you're in that place and you're regaining that inertia to move again, there's a lot of self-development that has to happen. A lot of actually exploring the Enneagram to figure out why you tick. A lot of looking at your leadership to understand why you're not connecting with your team. A lot of looking at your interpersonal communications, your emotional intelligence with people. Are you hearing their story? Are you meeting them where they are? And if not, that could be the missing piece. But in that place, it doesn't feel great. I'm just real honest, but you can get out of that. And some things that I need you to know when you're in that place. And I don't say, this may sound bad. I don't want to speak negative life over you. Some of you may never have to face a low like that, but all of you will face a low in this business. To say otherwise would be leading you down the wrong road. We're all going to be in a place where we don't feel like we're good enough or can't do it. So when I say that, these are the things that you need to know when you do get to that place. Or when your teammate is in that place. Part of what is so important about our leadership is that we can metabolize that failure with our team. And we don't just go to them and say, well, start doing these things. You got to do the things again. Sometimes it's not helpful just to tell people what to do. We have to be there with them. Ugh. Okay, anyway, these are things you need to know when you're in the bottom. It's never going to feel easy, ever. It is awkward. It's very awkward to be in that place. It's definitely not recommended to stop. It's not recommended to quit posting. It's not recommended to quit reaching out and adding people to your funnel and starting conversations with people. It's not recommended that you let your well dry up. It's not recommended, but it's going to happen, okay? Sometimes in small ways. Grace for yourself is 100% necessary. shaming yourself and guilting yourself into, I've got to do this, I'm just going to do it, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. That's not how willpower works. I'm sure you guys know a lot about that. But when we get in that place, you have to have grace for yourself and be able to forgive yourself for making a mistake and for letting failure stop you. And you've got to do the next right thing for yourself. And what's right for you may not be right for the other person or the other person. So we can't just say, start doing this, because that it has to be what works for you where you are. And sometimes just opening up your follow-up book feels like you are, like, I don't know, running a marathon. So maybe you need to start smaller, right? Start where you need to, because a start is a start. No one's journey is going to be the same. Okay, so grace is absolutely necessary. Failure is absolutely inevitable. You're going to think you're cranking upward, right? And you're going to fall right back down again. And you're going to have people say no to you. And something's going to not work for you. That's inevitable. You cannot avoid it. Something else I need you to know is you are capable. You are not so-and-so. You are not anybody else. You have what it takes. You do. Not somebody else. You are uniquely designed to be who you are. And at your very best, you're amazing. But we have to get to that place. Sometimes we have to go through personal development and go through that hard stuff and that ick and that past shit we don't like to look at. It's there, right? And we can't ignore that. So sometimes we have to get around it or go through it. We can't really actually go around it. We have to go through all of it. One way or the other. Okay, so something I also like to say is we all come in with this kind of capacity, and this is where I'm going to talk a little bit about being busy. So we all come in with this like leadership capacity and this lid, right? And we all, some of us come in and we've led huge shows. Like I was a president for my social club. I was the vice president. I did the pledge week, right? I led this musical review show, like 500 people. I'm a board member, right? So I've had this kind of leadership skills early on, right? Some of that's natural, some of that's God-given, some of that stuff that I've had to go through past crap already in my life. I had to grow up way too fast. And that's a story for another time. But some of you know what it feels like to go through hard stuff, and you have those skills already in place to know how to move forward. We don't all come in at the same place. The system is easy, but we're the complicated part, right? So we're the ones that we have to change it to fit us. And so no matter, you may be cranking along and doing amazing, and then you hit this wall, like this seeming wall, and it's usually where we have to deal with something in ourselves in order to be able to raise our lid to be a little bit higher. I hope this makes sense. It makes sense completely in my brain. I'll see if I can get it out to where you guys understand it too. So you may get to silver and hit that wall. You may get to senior gold and hit that wall. You may be like me and make it all the way to emerald, and then you hit a dang wall. And then you've really got to explore and learn how to fit new things into your life. The way I look at kind of capacity is like the same reason why a mother of 7 is so busy and about to lose her mind, and why a mother of 1 can be so busy and about to lose her mind. We make space for what's important to us. We make space for plexus if it's important to us. So when we're really busy, like when people tell me I'm just too busy, Sunnie, I just look at that like, no, you're probably just not making it a priority. And sometimes that's okay. Sometimes life literally is so hectic. You need to make space for other things, and plexus is not the priority right now. But if you're telling me your why is big and it needs this income and it needs these products and it needs to see you expand across the world, then I'm going to ask you to make space. And so saying you're busy, the truth is if you're busy, the honest truth is you're probably going to be busy even if you quit plexus. You're going to find something to make you busy. But you're really busy doing nothing. That's why my fiance's grandmother is really busy washing towels that aren't dirty. Like, you make time for what's a priority. Like, mothers with 7 kids, don't worry about if their face is dirty every moment, right? But a mom with 1 kid's like, your face is dirty, honey. Come over here, let me clean it, right? Like, things just, you forget about other stuff. It's like it doesn't matter anymore. You deal with that priority. Also, you make space for things that are important to you. So like, I'm really busy and I'm exhausted and I just worked a 12-hour shift. Oh, there's 80% off shoes at Dillard's right now. I'm there. Forget me saying I was tired. I'm actually not, because I'm going to go shop at 80% off Dillard's, right? So we make space for what's important for us. And the truth is when you're in that low, right, the last thing you want to do is face it. It doesn't feel comfortable to make space during that time. But that's why you have to be super intentional about what your why is and why you're doing this in the first place. And then you will make space. But nobody can give you a specific formula for that. You may try 99 million journals or this process or that process. If you don't have it in your mind, this is what you're going to do. Sometimes this also sucks too, is sometimes you have to feel, the right kind of pain for you. Like, when the pain of not promoting is more than the pain of feeling uncomfortable because I'm not promoting, when it becomes higher, you start to become more motivated. Like, sometimes we have to face pain in order to make a change. So that's a necessary part also. Okay, so you are capable. And this is a place when you're in that the bottom loop of the roller coaster. This may be where you have to set up some healthy boundaries. That person you're comparing yourself to, quit that crap. Unfollow them on Facebook. You don't need to see how amazing they look today when you're feeling bad about yourself. You don't need to see how awesome their team is growing. Unfollow them. It's okay. Set up that boundary. Get yourself out of comparison and into a place where you can see your whole goodness. And then from that place, you will be able to create the energy that it's going to take to move you out of that place. But you've got to get out of comparison. There is no room for comparison. It is a wrap. You are never going to be that person who you think has it all together. Ever. You won't. And the truth is they probably don't actually have it all together like you think that they do. So there's no room for comparison in that place if you find yourself in a low, okay? Also, stop trying to recreate the wheel. Like I said, when you've got 7 kids or 1 kid, and I have no kids, so this maybe isn't fair for me to give this example, but like when you have 7 kids or 1 kid, you figure it out, right? You do what's basic and necessary. When you have 7 kids, you have to just keep them alive. That's what you're focused on. And when you get to that place in plexus, stop trying to recreate the wheel. Get back to the basics. You know how to start conversations with people. Sometimes we think, oh, well, the mountain's too big and there's too many things and I can't do this and I can't do that. And, my funnel isn't full, so I should probably just give up because it's not full and me reaching out to these people isn't going to work anyway. I'm just going through things that literally have said in my head. Like, I've stopped myself from restarting multiple times. And sometimes you just have to restart. And it's going to feel uncomfortable and it's going to feel awkward and it's going to feel like, well, I should already know how to do this and my funnel should be full. Well, you're shitting on yourself, friend. It's not there. Anyway, you know how to love people well. You instinctively have that inside of you. And so you are instinctively already good at what you're doing. You know how to reach out to people. You know how to follow up with people. You don't need some special wording. You know how to instinctively love people well. And so because of that, you know how to reach out to people. Don't make it overly complicated. Don't make your system super crazy. Just make it happen how it works best for you. Is it a reminder on your phone? Go reach out to somebody. I use my reminders all of the time. I have reminders pop up always. If I don't have my planner with me right in the moment, I set a reminder, put this in planner so I don't forget it. Because we have to get the stuff that's going on in our brain out of our brain, or it's going to sit in there and clutter. And you're going to think, oh, I'm just so busy. But all you're busy doing is remembering that thing you have to do tonight. You're not actually busy. You're just really busy worried about all the stuff that you need to get out of your brain. So finding something that works for you to keep you organized is going to help you get out of that place. You know how to reach out to people. You know how to follow up with people. You just have to do it. But I can't tell you how to do it. That has to be your process. You've got to be willing to face the demons in order to move forward and find your process. So if you find yourself really busy doing nothing, you're in good company. I've been there. But writing stuff down in your calendar, I don't know if you guys have a planner that you guys recommend to people, but I use my passion planner like it is my life. And in the times when I am super motivated and doing really, really well, I will schedule out my time in 30-minute increments. And that may sound unrealistic, but sometimes it just takes being super intentional and saying this 30 minutes is for me. This 30 minutes is for my business because this is what's going to make my family grow. I'm going to set aside this specific time so that I don't get really busy doing nothing. Let's see, what else works really well. I am conscious of the things that I'm grateful for during the times when it's really hard. But the passion planner and being grateful and reminders in my phone, and I have a note in my phone for Plexus check back. There are just a list of people. If ever I'm like, what am I gonna do? How does this, what do I need to do right now? I'll go back to my Plexus check back list. I'm like, oh, I have these people to follow up with. Because when you're really busy and there's lots of things going on, you need a place where it's all organized. So let's see, what else do I have? I think that's almost boundaries, self-discovery, personal development. Oh, yeah. Praying, crying, finding a good mentor, someone to metabolize their failure with, learning to focus on your needs. Sometimes it's not easy when we're really busy people to focus on what we need to grow forward. We get really busy in management mode. I'm so guilty of this because I want my team to meet their goals so bad. And so I find myself doing way more for them than I actually am for myself and my business, which in turn is actually not helping them because they're seeing me not doing those things. And so I'm not leading by example in that. And it's just this kind of vicious cycle. So I think that's the most of it. Find somebody you trust to tell what you're really thinking and feeling. And if you don't know what you're really thinking and feeling in that low place, take some time to examine that, journal it, go to therapy. Go to therapy. You need it. We all need it. Go to therapy. It's the best thing I've ever done. I'm going tomorrow. Gosh, and it took me, that's another thing. It took me my own time to actually go. I knew I needed to go for a whole year. And it wasn't until I felt enough pain that I made myself actually do it. So all in their own time, friends, but you need it. Okay. So, I got sidetracked, but I think that is what we need is we need someone to metabolize our failure with, someone you trust to say, here's how I really feel. I feel like if I do all this work, it's not going to work anyway. And really getting those thoughts that you have in your head out into the light where they cannot survive, guilt and shame cannot survive in that light. And so having someone to metabolize that with is invaluable. Someone to help you feel seen where you are. And keep in mind, this for people who aren't in this place, this is super valuable for you to know how to help people who are in this place on your team. And you will have people there. And some of you in your personality is like, well, just suck it up and get over it and do your stuff. That's your personality. Not everybody thinks that way. So that's some emotional intelligence that you maybe need to work on. But I'm giving you some kind of perspective of what it looks like to ride that roller coaster. Click your way back to the top of 90 days of consistently reaching out to people before you see the results. I remember having a business call with one of the Jewel coaches, and she's moved on to another position now. But I remember telling her and like crying, I don't believe it's going to work. I said this as an emerald in the company, that I didn't believe that everything that I had done before then that had worked was not going to work anymore. Like, I had convinced myself that it wasn't going to work. It wasn't going to matter how many people I reached out to. It wasn't going to work anymore. Isn't that crazy? That is insane in the membrane. But I had convinced myself it wasn't going to work. And I remember her saying, Sunnie, you do it for 90 days, it's going to work. And I was like, fine. I'm not going to believe it at all, but I'm going to do the damn thing. And I did, and it worked. So sometimes you just have to suck it up and do the damn thing and get yourself out of that place. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't come with tears, and it doesn't come with angst and self-discovery. So I went way longer than I thought I was going to. I appreciate you guys so much for just listening to me jabber. I think there's some questions on here. I don't know if they're questions.
It's just me sharing links, Sunnie.
Oh, perfect. Look at you being all prepared. That's excellent. Any questions? Any thoughts? Any complaints?
You're amazing.
Oh, thanks, friend.
Like, I was like nodding my head and totally loving all of that. Thank you.
It's just from a genuine place of having to figure my own crap out. Anybody?
We're having a meeting. They reminded me. I'm so glad. Thank you so much. This was awesome.
Hey, I'm so glad. Sometimes it just takes, like, man, when you're in that place, when you're in that low place too, you just have to get on some calls. You have to listen to some trainings. You have to get out of your own head. And usually that feeling is cured with some action. Just doing things just makes you feel better. Doing things for other people, doing things for yourself. And so get on calls. It's so life-giving to me. Thanks, Lindsay. I appreciate that.
Sunnie, thank you for your vulnerability. And
Who said that?
I've sat in on it's Heidi, sorry, the Lorings.
Hi. Hello.
But I've sat in on a few calls with Jules, and it's, we don't always get to see the raw thought process and how you've worked through it. And I really appreciate where you are, because I feel there myself working towards senior gold. So I'm like, okay, going deeper, getting to, so I get it. I love it. Thank you.
Hey, you're welcome. Not that it's easy. I could not have done this a year ago. I couldn't have sat here and told you this honest truth because I was hiding from it. I didn't want anybody to know that I was this fraud who wasn't good at what she was doing. Isn't that insane? Like, this is the place that I was in my head. We can go insane. But I really, like, I feel so much better being able to voice that so that I can actually move forward from it. So I'm happy to share. Oh, and also, like, when you're in that place, it may be because you've been trying the same things over and over again and reaching a bad result. And that's that is the definition of insanity. And sometimes we do have to change the way we're doing things, like change the way we reach out to people, go to Instagram, change how we're reaching out and posting, and asking for that feedback from people and being able to be coachable to hear it. Like, I had people telling me what to do and trying to coach me through that. Well, there's a difference between telling someone what to do and coaching them. Telling people what to do is not coaching. Asking people what they need to do to feel successful this week, that's some good coaching. Asking them questions to get them to answer their own questions, that's coaching. Telling people what to do isn't necessarily coaching, and it wasn't working for me. I had to come to it on my own sad, long road terms. I hope you all take the Enneagram. As soon as you do, you're either going to be like, this thing read me like a book, or you're going to be like, I can't deal with this. Like, I don't like what it says about me. It's the process. And there's like so many things you have to like dig into and wings. And it's way more complicated than just the Myers-Briggs where you get your 4 little letters and you're like, oh, me. It's not like that. Enneagram, you have to kind of dig deeper. So be ready for that. But I found it very fascinating.
Sunnie, will you send Michelle your favorite link for Enneagram? I posted 2 on this, but like they're okay.
So the Enneagram Institute
Okay.
is, I feel like that's the best place to go. There's some that are free. You can just take a free quiz, and I don't even remember the free quiz that I took, but I feel like if you're ready to explore it, it's worth the maybe $12 or something to take the full exams. You have and then from there it gives you a full report on yourself. So you can take the free ones just for funsies. But I think the Enneagram Institute is the best. I think. If that's not right, I'll send you another link. Anybody else?
I have a question. So you were saying you don't do a lot of scripts when you reach out to people, you start a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're reaching out to somebody that you think Plexus would be good for, whether it's the business or the products, you still just reach out and say, hey, how are you? Or however you would do that. Do you not bring, because I feel like sometimes I need to be authentic in the fact that I'm reaching out because I want to share Plexus. I don't want to be
right.
Yeah.
Hey, how's your kid? You want to try some Plexus now?
Right.
Those don't work either. That's not very genuine. Yeah. So usually when I start those conversations, it's hey friend, I know you've probably seen me posting about Plexus over the last 3 years. I'm curious what your relationship is with it. Do you love it, hate it, take it? And then that just starts the conversation because if they hate it, because I gave them the option to tell me that they hate it, we can start a conversation there. We can talk about all their skepticism. We can talk about the bad things they've heard about it. We can talk about the ambassador who sold them something out of the back of their car and didn't tell them how to take it. That starts a conversation. And I'm usually just kind of really real with them in starting those kind of conversations. Where are you at? Let me take your pulse, your temperature. So that's usually how I start it. And that's still, that could be a script, right? That could is kind of like a scripty way of starting a conversation. But I don't just start with, hey, have you heard about Plexus? It's this, 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 this. That's not the kind of scripting that I do. Does that make sense?
I think we've all, probably everybody on this call, we've kind of learned that's being, you can still have a script, but it's shorter and authentic and asking those questions to get that engagement and conversation. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
I like that. You love it.
What?
I love that you ask what their relationship is with Plexus.
Yeah, because and something that's unique about my situation is Harding University, where I went to school, blew up with Plexus because of Jessica Heffley. And so it is also a very while wonderful, very conservative, staunch, don't change my way of doing things kind of world. And so they don't like change. They don't like vulnerability. And so some people either hate it or they're on the bandwagon. And so something about you guys probably need to know if you take the Enneagram and any of you are a 9, I'm a 9, 2, and a 6. And I can't figure out where exactly I am in that. But a 9 is a peacemaker. So I'm how can I bring this up without making it awkward, but keep everybody civil? So that was my process when I reach out to people and why I frame it like that.
Well, thank you so much for taking time. This was so, so valuable. I think I've been seeing lots of head nodding through the whole call. So I really, really appreciate it. I know a lot of this is what I needed to hear tonight for sure.
Good. We've all been there.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for having me on. It was an honor.
Thank you, Sunnie.
Bye, guys.
Thank you so much, Sunnie.
You're welcome. Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.